Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Thank you all for tuning in. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, thank you for coming back and tuning in and keeping up with me. I hope you all have all subscribed to the channel, just so that you are being notified and ready to go when I upload new story. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. It has been a minute. I took some time off. Life was doing its thing, lifing, and I needed some time off, but I am back. Um, the biggest issue was, the weather. I live in New England. I'm up north, and Mother Nature kept dumping snow on us, and it was freezing cold, and I just had no motivation to do anything but stay in the house and be warm. Quite honestly, and I'm sure a lot of you have felt the same way. Um, so again, thank you for coming back and tuning in and being present. Today, I have a story out of Oklahoma. It is a very weird story. Like, this woman in this story is ridiculous. I got a hair on my neck or something, y'all. Yes. This woman went beyond crazy, okay? When you hear the things that this woman has done, I swear you, like, God, please don't ever put that kind of love in my heart, okay? Because I don't need that. This lady is crazy.
A woman convicted of slicing up the corpse of another woman who was in a casket back in 2015 has now had her conviction and her sentence dismissed. Shaynna Sims has been released from prison after serving 4 years of her 20-year sentence. She argued the state didn't have jurisdiction to prosecute her because her victim, Tabitha Lynch, was Native American and because the crime was within the boundaries of the Creek Nation. News on 6's Ashlyn Brothers explains what's next. Ashlyn.
Lori, the Tulsa County DA tells me he's disheartened and disgusted and says surely this is not the intent of the Supreme Court ruling on tribal jurisdiction. Tulsa County DA Steve Kunzweiler says the McGirt decision has created a mess.
To say there are going to be tribal citizens out there who are going to become victims of crimes and they're never going to get justice, or the justice they got in state court is going to be taken away from them. I just can't imagine that that is what McGirt means.
He says it's sickening that Shaynna Sims is free.
This person got to do all those horrific acts and not have any kind of permanent record to follow her, to be held accountable as a jury did.
In 2015, Sims went into a Tulsa funeral home at 19th and Memorial where Tabitha Lynch was in a casket. Court records say Sims cut Lynch from the forehead to the top of her nose, cut her hair, smeared her makeup, cut off a toe and both breasts before removing Lynch's pants and taking photos of the body.
You just know it's not right. It's just flat out not right.
A jury found Sims guilty in 2017 of concealing stolen property, burglary, unauthorized dissection of a body, unlawful removal of a body part, and interrupting a funeral. She was sentenced to 20 years.
I'd like to see the Supreme Court look at this kind of a fact pattern and say, yeah, that's justice.
Sims appealed and the appeals court agreed because the victim had a 164th Indian blood and the crime occurred within the Creek Nation, the state didn't have jurisdiction and the case should be dismissed.
Unless the feds pick this thing up because they believe the statute of limitations has not run, to my belief, in all likelihood it has run, there will be no justice. There flat out won't be any justice.
And the U.S. Attorney's Office says Sims is not in federal custody, and based on the dates, they believe the statute of limitations has expired and that the tribes cannot pick up the case because Sims is not a tribal member. We also asked Shaynna Sims' mother for a statement, and she declined to comment. Ashlyn Brothers, Oklahoma's Own, News on 6.
So again, we're in Oklahoma. The man in the story, his name is Monty Smith. Monty was raised by a single mom who had health issues. So, growing up, he did help take care of his mother, just helping her with the around the house things and the bills and things of that nature. Monty did go on to college in, I want to say, 93. He was playing basketball in college. So, living his best life. And then he met while in college, he met this young woman named Tabitha. He and Tabitha fell in love, college sweethearts. I think Tabitha also played basketball. But then Tabitha went on to a new school to play basketball. And she and Monty ended up dating for about 3 years, and then they just kind of grew apart. So that relationship kind of fizzled down, and they went on with their lives. Monty graduated college and then moved on and became a mechanic. He got married to another woman that was not Tabitha. A few years into that marriage, Monty's mother's health kind of took a turn for the worst, and it was causing some issues, in Monty's marriage, because that's his mother. He's going to take care of her. And I guess his wife at the time just wasn't with all of that. Sometimes you get the woman that's like, okay, yes, take care of your mother, do what you need to do. And sometimes it's like, no, it's me or nothing. And that's not like what she was. It was her and nothing, okay? So she left. They got divorced. Monty took care of his mama and she went on and left. So, Monty went on and lived his life taking care of his mother. But in 2010, I think it says, in 2010, Monty was at a Halloween party, single and mingling. I meets this young woman, 22-year-old Shaynna Sims. It's either Shaynna or Shawnna. It might be Shawnna. Y'all, the crazy lady in the story. That's what he met at this Halloween party, okay? It said that she was a hairstylist. Yeah. They met because Shawnna took it upon herself to pull Monty on the dance floor and was dropping it like it was hot, girl. So she and Monty went on and had a good time at this party. Child, they went home together. That's what it says. Monty swears up and down it was full of conversation on this Halloween night, girl. The ghouls and the goblins was all acting a fool, but they was at the house chilling and talking and drinking water and whatnot. Okay? So they meet and they had a good time or what have you. They continue on to be friends. They ended up starting a relationship together, so much so that they ended up moving in with each other in January of 2011. Now, remember I said they met on Halloween night of 2010. They moved in together in January of 2011. Now, I'm not judging because that kind of carrying on is cute. If it's genuine and y'all really love each other and it's going to work out, that's real cute. But it could go one or two ways. Because first of all, y'all met on Halloween. And she was, I don't want to call her aggressive, but sis knew what she wanted. She went for it and now they live together. So it was real fast. So do what's best for y'all. Monty said that things were great. He said there was never a dull moment between the two of them. Which to me is kind of like, okay, it's been all of a minute, but whatever. I don't know how dull of a moment you can have. It ain't been but a moment. But again, I'm not judging. It is what it is. But here it is. They then got engaged, y'all. They got engaged shortly after. They married. They had a big, beautiful wedding that Shawnna planned this whole marriage herself. The whole wedding herself. She planned the whole wedding herself. She probably did plan the marriage too because it was real fast. I'm saying this. It was so fast. But again, live your life, girl. But she planned this whole big wedding. The venue was in Tulsa. They seemed to be happy and living their best lives. Monty was happy. He was finally settling down again. And from what he could tell, this was the best time of his life. But as we know, when people meet real fast and they move in real fast and then they get married real fast, what else happens real fast? First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes the what? Girl, Shaynna was pregnant. Shaynna was pregnant. She ended up, having Monty LeMay. They had a little girl, beautiful baby girl. And this is where the shit starts to hit the fan. Because Shaynna started acting a whole ass fool, okay? She got that baby in that house and that marriage and started showing her true colors. Now, I will insert some photos, but just for reference, Monty is black and Shaynna is white. Monty and Shaynna were at an OB appointment. Okay, I know I already told you they had a baby girl, but while she was pregnant, they're at one of her normal, regular OB appointments. And Shaynna failed a drug test. Now, here's my question. I have children. I have given birth to several children. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know there's a lot of blood work being done. Do I really know what they're doing and what they're looking for? No, besides, abnormalities and normal things in your body and your baby's body. But I didn't know they were running drug tests. Is that normal? Is that just an Oklahoma thing? Somebody tell me that down in the comments, because I don't know. I'm an idiot when it comes to that. I have no idea. I've never needed to have a drug test in general, especially during pregnancy. But I did not know that was protocol, because it seems like this is her first baby. So I can't even say that was her normal, that was normal practice for who she is, because she has a history, because that was her first baby. So it sounds like it was protocol. And I'm very confused because I did not know. And maybe that is something that just goes without saying. Maybe I didn't know. But she fails this drug test. She tested positive for Percocets and Loraltax. And according to her, she claims that they were for this back pain that she was having. However, Monty knew nothing of this back pain or the pills. According to what I read, Miss Shaynna was going to a whole different doctor getting these meds for her back pain. Now, my question is, how long has she been seeing this doctor? Because did this doctor not know she was pregnant? Or did he give her this medicine knowing she was pregnant? He was giving her Percocets while she was, yeah. So she was secretly seeing another doctor and complaining about this back pain to get the drugs and hiding all of it from Monty. So because she failed the drug test, the OB actually told her that she had to leave and she could no longer be a patient of theirs anymore. They were no longer associating themselves with her, which again, I did not know was a thing. Because who is now monitoring the safety of the baby, right? Because you would think that the OB would be like, okay, yes, you need to stop doing this. And clearly you see that her husband doesn't know. So, you need to have a side conversation with him. However, discontinuing the relationship to me seems a little odd, especially without a backup plan, because who's monitoring the baby? Especially when she's abusing the drugs. I don't know. Also, are they not required to reach out to DCF and let them know this is happening? Because I know a lot of times when there are people who are on drugs, they have a really bad drug habit, DCF will get involved during the pregnancy and they will take the baby if things aren't cleaned up before the baby is born. So once the child is born, they will take the child. I do know that. So are they not required to involve them at that very point that she failed that drug test? I'm very confused about all of this. I don't understand. But because she was kicked out of the office and told to find a new OB, Monty was really upset. He was hurt. He didn't understand what was going on. He didn't know why she was taking these pills. He didn't know if she really had a drug habit or what was going on, because she was hiding all of this from him very well, obviously. But Shaynna goes on with the rest of her pregnancy, and their daughter was born a few months later. And even with her mama being a pill popper, honey, the baby came out healthy and fine, okay? The baby was fine. Mama's a whole crackhead, but the baby was fine. Monty is still working as a mechanic. I believe he was still a mechanic. Wherever he was working, Monty went into switching his shifts at work just to bring in a little bit more money. So if he's working during the day, he switched his shift to work at night, because sometimes when you work overnight you get paid a little more, because that's the shift nobody wants to do. So Monty did that, trying to bring a little more money in, working 3 to 12, and he starts noticing that he and Shaynna are coming in the house at the same time. So when I say 3 to 12, I mean 3 in the afternoon to midnight. Shaynna is walking her tail in the house after midnight with Monty, who's coming from work. Where are you coming from, Shaynna? Shaynna was pulling into the driveway well after midnight. And I know the question y'all are all asking. Where the baby at? In the car with Shaynna. The baby's in the car with Shaynna. Coming in the house after midnight, a newborn. You got your tail outside with a newborn. Okay. Shaynna told Monty it was fine because she was out running errands. That's what she said, running errands. One night, Monty came home at midnight and Shaynna was home asleep. However, she had fallen asleep on FaceTime. Who was she on the phone with? Somebody else's man. Not her man. Somebody else's man. Not her man. Somebody else's man. She sleep on the FaceTime with this other man on the phone. Monty walks in from work, again, after midnight, and sees this man on the FaceTime. First of all, as a grown-ass man, why are you sitting on that FaceTime still? And she sleep. And she's the mother of a newborn, so I know she had a little snoring going on. She was tired. Because if she fell asleep on you, she's bored, sir. Hello, let's talk about that. But she's tired because she's up with that baby. So she's sleeping when the baby's sleeping, aside from her coming in, dipping in and out of the house all hours of the night. She's tired. So I know she was deep in that sleep and you knew she was asleep. Why the hell did you not hang up, sir? What? Why? Now, back in the day, yes, I am of a particular age. I know we all used to fall asleep on the phone with the boo, whatever. But sir, make it make sense, because that's dumb as hell. Well, Monty, the next day, when Shaynna woke up, he asked her about the FaceTime. Y'all wanna know what she said? She told Monty, I don't know what you're talking about. It's just that I don't recollect. Shaynna said she don't know what he's talking about. She had no idea. When I tell you audacity is free, because baby, that's all she had for that man that day. She had so much of it, it had to be free. Ain't no way. Ain't no way you had that much audacity to look that man in his actual face and tell him, I don't know what you're talking about. You didn't see that. You're telling that man that he didn't see that other man on your phone? My question for Monty is, why the fuck didn't you wake her up in that moment? Why weren't you on the phone with that man? Why wasn't the next face that man saw yours? If you would have woke her up in that moment, she wouldn't have had no reason, no way to deny. You should have woken her up then. I'm just saying. Because that makes no sense to me. You walked in on her and that man was on the phone and you said nothing, you let her sleep, you let her continue to sleep. Did you at least hang up the phone? Did you hang up the phone, Monty? Whatever. Monty said that the relationship just continued to get even more volatile. One day, Monty was trying to leave for work and Shaynna was blocking the door. They had gotten to an argument and he was trying to leave and Shauna's blocking the door. And he just like, girl, listen, I got to go to work. You ain't working. I got to go to work. I need to go so I can pay these bills, whatever. Shaynna told Monty that he better not put his hands on her or she can call the police. And we all know what that looked like when that white woman called the police on her black husband. Yeah. She told Monty she was going to call the police on him. Mind you, why she thought he would put his hands on her if he had never done so before? Girl, you was out here popping pills of his baby in your belly. He ain't slap you around. I mean, he found you on the phone with another man on FaceTime and you lied to him in his face and told him, you don't know what you're talking about. He ain't put his hands on you. So you just wanted him to know that if you called the police, they would be on your side and not his. Okay, we get it, girl. We get it. We get it. I understand. So another day, another time, another opportunity for Shaynna to show her ass. Monty decided to take Shaynna to get a tan. She wanted to go get a tan. And she goes into the tanning salon, and Monty stays in the car with the baby. And as he's sitting in the car, he's noticing several officers pulling up, several different police cars pulling up to this tanning salon. And, he ain't think nothing of it. He just, whatever, doing whatever he doing in the car with the baby, waiting for his wife to come out a little browner than she was when she walked in. She want to look like everybody else at the cookout. Okay? He just waiting on that. Okay? Well, Monty decides to figure out what's going on because he can now see that the police are going into the tanning salon. Okay? Because he like, okay, wait, what the hell? My wife is in there. What's going on? Come to find out, Monty finds out that there is a woman inside disturbing the peace. And sure enough, it was Shaynna's crazy white ass. She was in these people's establishment just raising all kind of hell. Police removed her and told her to never come back. And then Monty's just looking at her like, what? I don't understand what the problem is. What could these people have done to you inside this tanning salon? Like, were you arguing about the price? I don't know. It's a tanning salon. Like, why are you that angry to have the police called on you? I'm very confused. And Monty clearly was too, but not his family. Because Monty's family said at this point, the family was all, dragging. The family was like dragging him pretty much to court to have him divorce this girl. Because they're like, she's crazy. You need to let her go. You're going to end up in jail or in a grave because she's crazy. Well, Monty said he was committed to his marriage. He wanted to make sure it worked. He didn't want to give up on her. He wasn't sure what was going on with her. He didn't want to leave her in that moment either. He was trying to figure it out and trying to see what was going on, why she was so unhappy, why she's so crazy. Maybe there was something he could help her with. Maybe something he could do. Maybe they could figure it out together. They just had their baby. And, sometimes, she was doing little things up before she had the baby. But, she started getting a little crazier when she had the baby. Maybe it was postpartum. Maybe he wanted to help her through that. Monty was just not willing to give up on her. So, Monty stayed with her regardless of what his family said or how they felt. But then Monty ended up connecting with he connected with a woman on Facebook and started venting. And it turns out she happened to be his ex, Christina. Monty and Christina never took it beyond the Facebook messages. However, Shaynna did find out. Okay, she found out that he was talking to her, found out he was venting to her about their marriage. And we all know that's not something you ever want to hear or find out. Not only are you talking about our marriage and our problems to someone else, but as another woman, not just another woman, but somebody you used to be in a relationship with. So it was hurtful to her, I'm sure. I'm sure it was hurtful to her. So Shaynna did end up confronting Monty about what she knew. And Monty was honest and told Shaynna, you can read the messages because there's nothing going on. But baby, Shaynna and all them people in her head, they wouldn't believe in that. Shaynna had a whole staff meeting with them people in her head and said, no, you're lying. I don't believe you. Okay. So Shaynna did what she wanted to do. And she started stalking Christina. Shaynna said, you're a liar and I'm going to find her and I'm going to stalk her. She found out where that girl worked, where she lived, what her schedule was. Shaynna went as far as to pop all 4 of Christina's lovely tires on her car. Shaynna, like she was not playing. She popped all 4 of that girl's tires. Yeah. So Christina told Monty she had to leave him alone. She didn't want to be bothered. She wasn't about that life. Like, she thought she was just being a listening ear for somebody, and come to find out now she got to put an insurance claim in for her damn car. She didn't want none of that. She was not trying to be involved in that. She told Monty, good luck, good riddance, okay? But Shaynna doesn't care. She had made up in her mind that Christina was a problem. She was affecting her marriage, and she wanted to take care of it. She wanted to get rid of Christina. So her way of doing that is Shaynna went and got a restraining order against Christina, y'all. She went in these people's court, filed these people's paperwork, and sat in these people's courtroom and told these people that Christina was bothering her and she needed a restraining order for her to stay away from her. After she slashed all 4 of that girl's tires, she went and got a restraining order. All right. That's not even the craziest part of the story, y'all. Not even. When they were in court for the hearing for the restraining order, the ladies were arguing and going back and forth in the hallway, right? It's Christina and Shaynna in the hallway just cutting up, right? And while Shaynna was, mind you, Shaynna is in court for this restraining order and she's holding the baby. Since when do they let you bring the kids to court? I have a lot of questions about Oklahoma girl, because why was the baby in the court with her? I didn't know that was a thing. For this very reason that I'm about to tell y'all. This is why they don't let y'all bring kids to court, because this shit that while she's holding the baby, they started fighting. Christina and Shaynna fighting in the middle of the courthouse while Shaynna holding the baby. Everybody got arrested. But Christina went on to tell them, like, this is not my fault. She hit me first. And Shaynna saying, no, she pushed me, going back and forth. Back as she said. Well, good thing about a courthouse is they got cameras. And on the footage, it shows that Shaynna shoulder checked Christina. She checked the girl with her shoulder on purpose while she was holding that baby while they were arguing so that she could start the fight. But she wanted to make it look like she was the victim because she was holding the baby, and she wanted it to look like Christina was trying to fight her to prove her point of this restraining order. Well, baby, it didn't work. Witnesses even came forward and said, as Shaynna bumped into Christina, she started screaming, she hit me. Girl. So because Shaynna ended, the footage showed that Shaynna did actually start the fight while holding her baby. She was charged with child endangerment, and Christina was granted a restraining order. Thank God for Jesus, baby, because I swear for Lord, if that would have went any other way, Shaynna would still be pissing her the fuck off. Still bothering her. That girl wouldn't have a car today, okay? She wouldn't have nothing. Shaynna was placed on probation. The whole courthouse fighting was on the news. Because, one thing they like to talk about is people acting a fool and cutting up and carrying on in the courthouse. And that's when they don't care if you black, white, purple, green, or orange. If you in the courthouse showing your ass and you get arrested, causing a ruckus in the courthouse, baby, they're going to put you on the news. You're going to be famous in your little town. Yes, you are. So because this was on the news, everybody saw it. That included Tabitha. Y'all remember Tabitha? I told y'all about Tabs in the beginning. Tabitha came back around. She saw Miss Girl on the news and recognized the name. And I'm assuming the last name, because I don't know that she knows Shaynna from a can of paint. So she must have recognized the last name, and I didn't see the news art. I didn't watch the news article on it, so I don't know if it mentioned Monty or what have you. But somehow she knew that this woman was connected to Monty, and she reached back out to Monty. Now, however, if I saw my ex's wife on the news because she was in the courthouse fighting some chick about him, baby, I don't need that. I'm not reaching out to you. I'm gonna wish you the best of luck and pray about it, because that's a lot. Monty and Tabitha started catching up, and Shaynna, she didn't need to do much searching for the info because Tabitha reached out to Shaynna this time, y'all. So remember I told y'all she found Christina. She found out about Christina on her own. Excuse the motorcycle if you can hear that, guys. I'm so sorry. The sun is out. Everybody got their bikes out. The legs is out. Baby, I saw somebody running in shorts and a tank top today. Y'all are doing too much. One little bit of sun, a little bit of warm. It's a good 60-something degrees outside, baby. These people said, bring on the beach. But remember I told you when Monty started talking to Christina on Facebook, Shaynna found that out on her own. Well, this time, Miss Tabs came to Shaynna. She reached out to her after talking to Monty and seeing the whole thing on the news. So, Tab was telling her to basically just to get her shit together. She called her a bad mom, and Shaynna lost her shit. She went to Monty like, who is this? And why is she calling me a bad mom? How does she know anything about me? Well, bitch, she saw you on the news. Okay, that's all she needed. Monty didn't even tell her nothing. The extra shit that she found out from Monty was just the icing on the cake, baby. She had already had a slice from the news. She was very pissed off. Now Shaynna wanted to catch up to Tab, but Tabitha unfortunately would pass away 8 weeks before reconnecting with Monty. But in the true crazy white girl fashion that Shaynna so easily possessed in her body, she said that she decided she's gonna let Tabitha know that she didn't appreciate her being around her, calling her out of her name and being in her business. So like I said, Tabitha ended up getting sick and she passed away. This was 8 weeks prior to her even being able to meet Monty, okay? I'm sorry, excuse me, 8 weeks after she reconnected with Monty. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I misspoke. She passed away 8 weeks after reconnecting with Monty. While Shaynna and Tabitha had words over the phone, Shaynna wanted to make sure Tabitha knew exactly how she felt about her and that she meant business about her man. So, and I want to give everybody a heads up. This next part of this story is about to get real disgusting. And her behavior is disgusting. The whole next part of this is just diabolical. It is disturbing as hell, okay? So just prepare yourselves, okay? So Shaynna decided she was gonna show up at Tabitha's funeral. Tabitha's family was waiting outside after the viewing and noticed a woman walking behind them. You know, not a big deal. You know, it was still viewing hours for the body, or, you know, people who wanted to come in and pay their respects prior to the service. If they couldn't make it, if they could, what have you, it was still that time. So they didn't really pay it any attention. It wasn't until the same woman came rushing out behind them, moving really fast, very suspiciously. So they returned back into the funeral home, only to find that Tabitha's body had been tampered with. Her makeup was smudged, her hair was cut, she was sliced with a box cutter from the top of her forehead to the tip of her nose. Her clothing was all disheveled, pulled off, just not neat how it would look when you're laying in a casket. And her shoes were removed. And as the funeral home was going back in to work on her body once more, after the family had brought it to their attention that this had happened, and obviously this is just a viewing, she has to have a service, and they were expecting to have an open casket for this young lady. The folks at the funeral home found that Tabitha's breast had been sliced off. Shaynna brought her stinking, funky ass into a funeral home and mutilated this woman's body, y'all. She mutilated this woman's body because she told her that she needed to get her shit together for her marriage. I don't know what kind of crazy that is. I don't know what kind of love make you do that kind of crazy shit. Tabitha was in her casket and she did all of this to this woman while her family stood outside grieving. Obviously, the family and the funeral home called police. It didn't take the police long to find and figure out who Shaynna was, because let me tell y'all what Shaynna did, y'all. I'm telling you, this girl is batshit crazy. Batshit crazy. Let me tell you what she did. Shaynna's crazy ass took pictures of what she did to Tabitha's body and sent them to Monty. She violated this woman's dead body in her casket while her family was standing outside of the funeral home and took pictures and sent them to Monty. Yeah, I wish I could tell y'all that was it. That was the most craziest thing. You know, that's how we're gonna end the story on that kind of crazy. No. Shaynna was on a roll. She was on a fucking roll. She was a fucking roll. Shaynna was later arrested for what she did. Okay? She was arrested in Tabitha's house, y'all. Shaynna went from the funeral home to Tabitha's house, told Tabitha's family that was at the house that she was from the funeral home, and she needed a picture of Shaynna because her makeup and her hair had gotten messed up, and she needed this picture so that they can rematch it to make her look like herself again. She was in this woman's house, again with her family. The family called the police because they knew something was up. Because at this point, y'all, the family at the funeral home then already told them what's going on. I'm quite sure. So now they're like, okay, what the hell going on? And I'm sure they described this woman. So the family at the house has called the police, and the police arrest her at Tabitha's house, in her home, y'all. Like, when she was arrested, she still had the box cutter on her. Shaynna even took some of Tabitha's hair with her when she cut her hair at the funeral home. She had the hair on her still. Yes, she did. Yep. And after Monty got the pictures from Shaynna, he got a call from her as she was being arrested, begging him to come and get her. What? She thought that man was going to come and get her. But I blame Monty because he put up with all her other bullshit, and he came and got her. So she assumed, well, why are you not coming to get me now? She even says, she even told Monty she was being framed. Even after sending him the picture, she told that man on the phone while she was being arrested that she was being framed by the family and the police, and that she didn't do it. She don't know what they're talking about. She never know what they're fucking talking about. She never know what anybody's talking about. That's her problem. Oh, girl. Monty knew she was a liar and crazy. At this point, he was done, which, child, ain't nothing else left to Monty. There ain't nothing left. I'm glad you was done. You should have been done a long time ago. Police went through Shaynna's phone and found that she had taken multiple pictures of what she had done to Tabitha, even taken pictures of her own. She even took pictures of that lady's private area, y'all. I don't understand. And I guess it's good that I don't understand, because if you can understand some shit like why somebody would do that or the type of shit that they did, you crazy as hell too. There's no logic behind that. There's no logic behind that. So in April of 2016, Shaynna went to trial, and she was charged with burglary, illegal dissection, trespassing, and she was sentenced to 16 years for all the charges. So she went to prison, and Monty terminated her rights to the daughter, and he finally got a divorce, y'all. Child, thank God for Jesus again, because, but Miss Shaynna wasn't done, y'all. Miss Shaynna was not done. Why? What do you mean 16 years in prison? I'm gonna sit down and be quiet and get some act right. No, absolutely not. Why would she do that? Why? Shaynna was released after only serving 4 years due to a technicality. Basically, so from what I gathered, basically she was released due to being a Native American or of Native American descent. And I guess because of that, there was some law that was placed where she couldn't serve time because of I don't get me lying, y'all. I don't know. All of it sounds stupid as hell. Because I don't care what nationality you are, it is a crime for what she did was a crime, and she needed to serve her time. I don't care. Yes, okay, the Indians and Native Americans and the things that were done to them, awful. But what about what she did to Tabitha? Also awful. Serve your time. I don't know. So in November of 2021, she was released, but the crazy in her, girl, that crazy in her was sitting in that jail for 4 years doing a whole lot of nothing. So when she got out of jail, her and all them people in her head reunited. She stole a car. Tabitha got out of jail and stole a car, beat her mother up, and she beat her mother up, and she was out there just in the world doing a whole bunch of crazy shit. So a bunch of lawyers got together. Baby, when a bunch of lawyers get together and decide that you are a problem, you a problem. Because what do you mean a bunch of lawyers? A bunch of lawyers got together to try and figure out how to get her back in jail. I would assume though, and in all honesty, I would assume Tabitha's family probably had something to do with that, because what do you mean she's getting out of jail after only serving 4 years of the 16 that she was supposed to serve for what she did to that woman in her casket? What do you mean? No, I'm sure her family has something to do with that, rightfully so. But when Tabitha did get out of jail, Monty was nice enough to try and let her reconnect with their daughter, when she was released. But the daughter wasn't very impressed. And again, Shaynna was out here doing all kind of fuckery. So the daughter was just like, okay, this lady crazy. And Monty said, girl, you a bad influence. Hello? Your mom is a convicted felon. She's a bad influence. You should have never gave her that opportunity, Monty. So the daughter wanted nothing to do with her. So the lawyers that were working together to get her put back in jail did find a loophole somehow, and got a judge to place her back in jail to serve out the remaining 12 years that she had of her 16-year sentence, on top of whatever charges she got for the car theft and the beating of her mother. So she did get put back in jail. I don't know what else. She was doing a bunch of other things too, so I'm sure she got more time added. So she was just racking up time while she was out in the street, and then she still had to do that on top of the 12 years. So I don't know. Girl, you beat your mama up. I'm sure she was probably the only one talking to your sorry ass, and you was in jail. You beat your mama up. Why? Because she wouldn't give you money for your Percocets? And so the 12-year sentence alone won't be up until 2036. And then you add on all those other charges. So we don't know when Miss Shaynna gonna get out of jail, but I'm interested to know what you all think, what your opinions are on this story, because it is a lot. Like I said, I'm not really sure if in the beginning when she started doing all the crazy stuff, if it had anything to do with postpartum. I don't know. Monty seems to tell the story as if he was, perfect. He didn't do nothing wrong. He was good to her. And I don't know that man to call him a liar. But what happened between the pop, lock, and dropping on the dance floor on Halloween to you popping Christina's tires, girl. I don't know. And why she was stepping out on the marriage, I'm interested to know as well. Was Monty working too much? Was he not paying her any attention since she had the baby? You know, that happens. They become uninterested once you have a baby because your body changes, your life changes, what have you. I don't know. But at the end of the day, she needed help long before what happened to Tabitha. Long before. And Monty ignored those signs. I will say that. But I don't know. I'm interested to see what you all think. But like, is that not a crazy ass story? Like, God, again, please don't ever let me love a man that much. I'm not trying to love a man enough to be going and mutilating a dead body. Because imagine if Tabitha didn't pass away and she caught her on the street. Would she have killed her? Because Tabitha gives me fucking around and find out the way she called her and told her to get her shit together. Tabitha would have been with all the shit and they probably would have went to blows, honey. Christina didn't have nothing for her. But Tabitha sounded like she would have gave her a run for her money. And would she have tried to kill that woman? I don't know. I'm gonna go watch a Disney movie because this is just too much. All right, guys, thank you again for tuning in. I am very grateful for all of you who have subscribed. If you haven't, please go ahead and like and subscribe and turn on your post notification bells because I'm back, bitches. I'm back. I am going to, I'm trying to work out a upload schedule. It's a lot because I have a lot going on and I'm trying to, I think I'm going back to school, so, but I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. I will definitely at least post once a week. I will try a couple times a month. Girl, look at me lying again. I don't know. I'm going to be here though. So just come along for the ride, okay? I love y'all. Bye.